I'm Clara, I'm going to be your chef today, and today we're cooking Caribbean food. So today we'll be cooking saltfish and bakes. There's a lot of history behind the dish, and if you're someone who really wants to get into Caribbean food, it's a really easy way to start out. So the first thing we're going to do is measure out flour, sugar and salt and put it all together in a mixing bowl. So firstly we measure out 225 milligrams of flour. And then to add the salt and the sugar is pretty much just to whatever your taste prefers. So I like to do 1 teaspoon of sugar. And 2 teaspoons of salt. So making sure your hands are clean, we're going to mix it all together with our hands. So next we're going to add 150 millilitres of milk. In this case I'm going to use skimmed, but you can really use whatever you like again. So making sure there's like an indent in your flour, pour in half of the milk and start to stir with your hands, just gently folding it all in. So after the mixture starts to look quite crumbly, add in the rest of the milk and just knead that all in together. So once your dough is all nice and kneaded, just add a tiny touch of olive oil. And then knead all that in together again. So when it gets too awkward to knead in the bowl, dust the surface off with some flour and knead on that instead. Make sure it's all covered, and then just start kneading again. Okay, so once you've finished kneading, your dough should be fairly sticky in texture. We're going to roll it up, divide it in half, and then from each half we're going to make 3 pieces. So now we've got 6 pieces, all kind of around the same size. We're going to roll them up into a nice sort of ball shape, and then flatten them, not too much, and then make a indent with our thumb in the middle. So you want to set your hob to around about like a medium-high heat. And then add about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or sunflower oil, doesn't really matter. Okay, so once our frying pan is nice and hot, we're going to start adding our bakes. Just really gently into the pan because you don't want to get spat on by the oil. And try not to let them touch as well, or they're going to cook stuck next to each other. So while the bakes are browning in the pan, get a plate ready to the side and add some kitchen roll just to soak up the oil for when it's finished. So once they're like a really nice golden brown colour on the bottom, we're going to flip them over. So they only need about like 2 minutes on either side. Okay, so now that our bakes are finished, we're going to move on to cooking our saltfish. And there's 2 ways to prepare saltfish. You can either leave it like soaking in water overnight, but since I haven't done that, you can boil it for 20 minutes and it does exactly the same thing. So now I've got my water boiling. I'm going to add half of my saltfish from the packet into the water. And then just leave that for 20 minutes. Okay, so while our fish is boiling, we're going to dice up our vegetables. And in this case I'm going to use 4 tomatoes, 2 spring onions or chives, and half of a red pepper. So we want our vegetables diced up really small. So start chopping these tomatoes. And really like tiny little portions of them, is what we want. So I like to use cherry tomatoes just because I really like the flavour of them. But if I was back in Grenada, I'd use like really big salad tomatoes, some spring onions, and some actual like Caribbean seasoning peppers because the flavour is really, really strong. But in this case, I pretty much really like red peppers and spring onions and cherry tomatoes, so I'll use those three. So now I'm just cutting up the spring onions really small again. Okay, and then we're going to use the pepper next. So I'm going to use actually a quarter of a pepper. And then just make sure to pull all the seeds out from the top. And then again, just start dicing in really, really small sections. Ooh, cool. So the fish has been boiling for 20 minutes now. You can leave it for a bit longer if you don't want it so salty, but we're going to drain it out. And then just leave that to cool down for maybe about 5 to 10 minutes. So now we've prepared our vegetables for the saltfish souse. We're going to wait for the fish to cool down and then we can start shredding that. Okay, so now our fish has cooled down, we're just going to shred it and add it to our saltfish souse. Just so it's all in really flaky pieces. Okay, so the last thing to do is just add some olive oil and some black pepper just to taste. And then when you've got enough, just stir it up. And now it's ready to serve. What do you think?
It's really, really good.
Thanks for watching today. If you want more recipes like this, make sure to follow us on social media, #NewsFoodFridays. So Lauren, what do you think?
It's really...
So this
Okay, so... It's gonna calm down.
This dish serves 2 people.